2-1. That was the D'Angelo lady. So Tim Scott, the Republican, one of the Republican candidates running for the president, the senator out of South Carolina, who was polling at about 10%. So that means 2% milk is actually blacker than Tim Scott. But he says that he is, donors asking about his marital status is racist. Now, this is funny because Tim Scott hadn't said anything about things that actually were racist. He didn't say much about George Floyd being murdered in the streets, or people being slaughtered in Jacksonville or Buffalo, or he lately and begrudgingly came to the conversation when one of the other presidential candidates basically said that black people or slaves had benefits. So he's very begrudging. He didn't say anything about Charlottesville. So it befuddles me that this is the point where he decides to see racism when somebody asks you about your marital status. And it's the one time when it's anything but race. Almost in any walk of life where you want to ascend, where people are going to give you the keys to power, they are going to want to know if you are married or if you plan to be married. Because in a lot of society, rightly or wrongly, that connotes stability. That connotes the ability to make a commitment. If you are not married, there are not many places that you can go. Like if you're single and you want to ascend in corporate America, you're going to have a harder road to go. In athletics, if you are an athlete, I don't care how great you are, how many points you score, you're not going to get very many endorsements if you're not married. Matter of fact, Ben Roethlisberger got accused of sexual assault and had to get married because you have to convince people that you're trustworthy. Not that it's true. Name me a president that actually wasn't married. I mean, you have to go way back in the annals of history to have that be true. Because nowadays, it is one of the things that people look at. It's one of the boxes you check. Just like you make a foreign trip to prove that you are, have some kind of foreign acumen. You go to different meetings. You belong to different clubs. And you are married. I'm pretty sure that there are not many couples that actually live in the White House and had sex. I'd say outside of Barack Obama, nobody had sex. I guarantee you, the first Bush ain't messing with Barbara. You think Bill was messing with Clinton? It ain't Hillary. And I know Melania never touched Trump after the contract was signed. Come on now. But it's one of those things you have to do. And for Tim Scott to point that out as racism lets me know how blind he is. Tim Scott was appointed by a governor, or he would have never been senator. You're an unremarkable man who says unremarkable things. You will never see a Republican get nominated by a Republican governor, a black man get nominated, if he's going to do anything other than give black lips to white lies. That's the box you have to check. So you have to be married in a lot of things. Try to be the preacher of a black mega church and not be married. If you're 57 years old and never been married and never had kids, try to date and see if somebody has questions about it. That's what society does. You're in close proximity to Lindsey Graham, so in essence, you're being groomed by him. People are going to ask you questions, and his answer was, well, I have a girlfriend, but I don't want to expose her to the scrutiny. You are running for the presidency of the United States of America as a black man. They're going to scrutinize every single thing you do. So either you're a liar or obtuse. The other thing, I could care less about your personal foibles. I don't care what's going on in your life, in your bedroom at all. But your party seems to care what's going on in everybody else's. As the president of the United States, you are going to make policy and sign law and champion things that are for what? The American family. I'd be damned you're going to champion my family. You ain't never had one. You were talking about ruling on abortion. How the hell would you know about it if you've never been married, never been in a relationship, and don't have kids? You have put your nose in other people's business. And now you're having the temerity to say that you mind it when people do it to you? You're going to be the leader of the free world. You're going to be the spokesperson for America. And every time I hear a politician in America, they're always talking about families. How do you do that if you've never had one? It's not a predicate, but it's always historical. It's always happened. That party in particular will never. I'm not talking about the Republican Party writ large. I'm talking about the MAGA wing of the Republican Party who decides who wins primaries, will never vote for a black man. Never. It'll never happen. I'm not saying there aren't Republicans at large, the Mitt Romneys of the world, the people who are straight-laced, blue-collar, straight-up Republicans. They might do it, but you ain't getting past these MAGA Republicans. America might not be racist, but MAGA damn sure is. You were never going to be president for a lot of things, the least of which is the fact that you weren't married. But don't pretend like them asking you about your marital status, which they do on every application, whether it's credit or job or employment, they ask you these things. Because one of the things they want to know is how stable they can believe that you are. It's a box that you check. Just like if a gay dude wants to convince society that he's not gay, he gets a beard. If MAGA wants to convince society that they are not racist, they get a Tim Scott. That's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.